There's a level of admiration I actually have for China because their basic dictatorship is allowing them to actually turn their economy around on a dime.
Hello friends, my name is John Thrower, and this is Thrower Overboard. Today we're taking a look at the very critical and important question, is Canada becoming a communist country? I want to take a look at 8 steps in how to create a socialist state, and there's an article on this that we'll take a look at. And to start with, I'm going to read the opening as well as the closing paragraph, as the closing adds some context to these points and where they come from. How do you change a country's culture, change it from a capitalist system to a government-controlled socialist society? Here is the playbook, and so far, the socialists appear to be making a lot of progress. Many people believe the above 8 steps to socialism were the work of Saul Alinsky. However, that doesn't appear to be true. The source is anonymous. The nearest thing Alinsky produced was his list of power tactics outlined in his 1971 book, Rules for Radicals. I actually have that book and might do something on that in the future. Continuing on, regardless of the source, the list in relation to current events is rather frightening, particularly when you consider that in Marxist theory, socialism is merely a transitional social state between the overthrow of capitalism and the realization of communism. That's one part I wasn't as familiar with. It's a very interesting and adds some more levels of fright and worry and concern here, that socialism that so many people are fighting for is really just a transitional phase to communism. And so in a way, people fighting for socialism, wanting that, calling for that, are really calling for a move from capitalism to communism in the long run. Socialism was a term coined by Vladimir Lenin, who brought in the single-party state in Russia. You know, not having an opposition, don't want any of that accountability, right? And we can see how that worked out so well, as long as you enjoy mass murder when Stalin came in and millions died. So we'll take a look at the 8 steps, these warning signs, if you will, for a capitalist society kind of crumbling and turning into a communist one. And also, like and subscribe. That helps out a lot. Before looking at the 8 steps here, we'll get to in just a moment here, when looking into Vladimir Lenin bringing about a single-party state in Russia, it brought to mind the danger of having no opposition in government. No one there to be privy to what's going on and to kind of raise the red flags to the public when the government is doing something shady. It's a concern because even though that is happening a lot here in Canada, the red flags are being waved, it's just getting tossed on the rug, and a lot of people are just ignoring the opposition. Peter Hitchens, a British journalist who was in politics for a while, said, "A country where the media attack the opposition rather than the government is a country where freedom is under threat." Consider that for a moment. If the media is attacking the opposition, the ones supposed to hold the government to account, rather than also aiding and holding the government to account and going after them, it seems to me that this is a very real threat here and now in Canada. And let me know in the comments if you see it too. The gaffes of the current Prime Minister and the government seem to be quickly forgotten and not covered by the media for very long, if at all. Remember Justin Trudeau's blackface ethics violations for which he was declared, actually guilty, the SNC-Lavalin scandal interfering with judicial processes, and even the most recent scandal that's going on right now, this We Charity scandal, where close to $1 billion was given to the charity by the government, and surprise, surprise, they have close ties to the Trudeaus. And yet, if you just Google We Charity Trudeau, you can go ahead and do it. I did this just on Monday the 13th, and the results are not about what was done wrong, but how sorry Trudeau and the others involved are. Oh, he's sorry? That's what the headlines ought to be. Don't worry, guys. Maybe something was done wrong, but he's sorry. It's about setting the record straight. The media wants us to give the benefit of the doubt and to sympathize with our government, whereas the opposition, on the other hand, anything wrong, and there is no room for that same sympathy. Andrew Scheer is not wearing a mask for a while when taking a phone call? Sound the alarms! Push the We Charity scandal to the side. Who cares about crossing $1 trillion in debt? Press the opposition about that mask violation.
There are many people who do not believe that masks should be mandatory. Should you not be setting an example for Canadians and nothing else to add?
As I said yesterday, I was wearing a mask while I was traveling, so I don't have anything else to add to that story. It's hard to believe that this is actually your question and your follow-up when we're dealing with a prime minister that is under an investigation for ethics violation for the third time. We're dealing with $300 billion worth of deficit with no recovery plan, with no budget this year. And you want to know how long I had my mask off yesterday after making a phone call? Come on, that's ridiculous.
I like that clip, and I wish we'd seen that sort of spunk during the election. Where was that? Is healthcare, welfare, poverty, education, religion, class warfare, debt, and gun control. Canada, watch out.